We no longer trust you. Don't come home. It was from my parents. No explanation. No context. Just a cold sentence that sliced through my chest like a knife. For a minute, I thought maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they meant it for someone else. Maybe it was some twisted joke. But then the second message arrived. We're disappointed in who you've become. My hands shook. A hollow feeling spread through my ribs. And all I managed to reply was, understood. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I didn't ask why. Maybe because deep inside, I already knew. This wasn't sudden. It was a slow death, years of subtle comments, silent treatment, unfair comparisons, emotional manipulation. They treated me like a burden whenever I said yes, and a rebel whenever I said no. What hurt wasn't the message. What hurt was that they had been waiting for a chance to send it. I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the screen, remembering everything I did to earn the trust they claimed they'd lost. The bills I paid. The favors I did. The sacrifices I made quietly. The dreams I buried because they said family comes first. But in their eyes, I was never a child. Just a tool. Something useful, until the moment I needed boundaries. And the moment I finally said, I can't keep fixing everything, they labeled it betrayal. A deep, strange calm settled inside me. Not peace, but clarity. If they could cut me off this easily, maybe they weren't losing a child. Maybe they were losing control. I thought this was the end of the story. But the truth? This was only the beginning. For the next 2 days, I didn't hear a single word from my parents. No calls. No explanations. Just silence thick enough to choke on. But the silence wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the relatives' messages that followed. Why did you break your parents' trust? Your mom is very hurt. You should apologize. Families don't survive selfish children. Selfish. That's always the word they used when I finally said no. But what none of them knew was that my parents had twisted the story completely. They told everyone I had abandoned them, that I refused to help, that I had become ungrateful. And all because I wouldn't give them what they demanded last week, my entire savings. Savings I spent years building. Savings meant for my future, my stability, my escape from a life where I was nothing but a backup plan. When I refused, calmly, respectfully, they snapped. Now they wanted to paint me as the villain. But instead of confronting them, I did something they never expected. I focused on myself. I worked longer hours. I updated my resume. I applied for positions I had always been too scared to try for. I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes hoping for a kind message that would never come. In just a week, something inside me began to shift, my confidence, my peace, my sense of control. And then, on a random Thursday evening, everything changed. My uncle called me, not to scold, but to warn. Your parents are telling everyone you stole money from them. That you're refusing to return it. Is this true? I felt my blood turn cold. Stole? I was the one who paid their bills. Their medical emergencies. Their house repairs. Their debts. But they were telling people I stole from them? That's when I made a decision. I logged into my online banking. Opened my transaction history. And downloaded 4 years of records, every payment, every transfer, every bill I covered, every emergency I handled. Proof that I wasn't the one who broke trust. Proof that I wasn't the selfish one. Proof that they had rewritten the story to make themselves saints and me a sinner. By the time the documents were saved, something inside me had solidified. They wanted a war. Then for the first time in my life, I was ready to fight back. Not with shouting. Not with insults, but with truth. And the truth was about to tear their fake story apart. 2 days later, my parents finally invited me to a family discussion. Not to apologize, but to corner me. When I walked in, they were already seated with two relatives, ready to play the victims. Mom started first. "You've hurt this family. You broke our trust." Dad added, "You need to return what you took and apologize in front of everyone." I placed a folder on the table. Silent, heavy, final. "What's this?" Dad frowned. "Proof," I said softly. Inside were 4 years of transactions. Every bill I paid. Every debt I cleared. Every time I saved them from sinking. The room went completely still. My uncle whispered, "They told us you stole money." Mom's face drained. Dad looked like the ground had fallen under him. I stood up. Calm. "I didn't betray anyone. I stopped being used." Mom's voice cracked. "So, what now?" "Now?" I said. "I choose peace. And distance." Their eyes widened as I picked up my keys. No more lies. No more manipulation. No more guilt. I walked to the door, feeling lighter than I had in years. "I didn't lose trust today," I said quietly. I finally stopped giving it to the wrong people. And for the first time, I walked away without looking back.